Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing great. So there's just a little bit of feedback. I know I'm dealing with a little bit there. So I'm just in a new location today, and I'm hoping that everything runs smoothly for me today. If you guys would go ahead and do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button, and so that you can get things set up so you can be a part of everything that we do here at Glen Park in our youth page here on Facebook, as well as we are broadcasting over on YouTube. So if you are watching us over at YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like, rate, review. We love seeing what we could be praying for, things that we could be involved in the lives of not only people here in Glen Park or in Wichita, but also just the surrounding communities. I know I have a lot of good friends that are youth pastors as well as pastors within the area. I love partnering with them as much as we possibly can through the midst of all of this. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm doing wrong here. Here we go. Let me pull this back just a little bit. Okay. Well, again, I hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday. We are on currently right now on our Glen Park Youth page, so I hope you guys are watching us over there. Or if you're not, you're watching us um, over on YouTube, and that's great. I want to say hi to Dorothy. I bet Jeanette is with you too. I'm glad that she is jumping on with us too. Both of you guys, thank you so much. If you're jumping on, please come say hi. I don't get to see everybody that does jump on because if we're not Facebook friends, I have no idea who you are. And so I would love for you guys just to come on and jump on here and be a part of Glen or a part of our time here together. I'm trying to see how I can get this to be shared not only on our youth page but also on our church page, and that way some of you guys that don't follow us over on the youth page, I guess. That way you can still get notified whenever we actually go live. So here, let me do this real quick. No, that's not what I want to do. Not what I want to do, Brian. Here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. We'll get started here in a little over 5 minutes. So if you're jumping on right now, go ahead and hit that share button. And make sure to click the notification button up there towards the top that lets you know whenever we go live. And that way you can be informed of everything that we do as it's happening here in the lives of your students and what we're doing here as your youth pastor, or student pastor, sorry. And that way you can ask me questions about anything that's going on in the lives of the students, as well as uh, just things that are coming up and coming. So, or maybe you just have questions about what's children's ministry going to look like whenever we start back up. I'd love to talk to you guys about that and how that's going to look, and maybe give you guys a little bit more of an insight into that. Trying to think if there's anything else that I want to tell you right now before I switch off and then come back on in about 5 minutes now. So I don't think so. So come back. If you're just jumping on right now, I like to allow a little bit of time and space for those that want to jump on with me in a little bit. So Hey everyone, again, this is Pastor Bryan. You guys are joining in right now. We're about to get started in a little over a minute, so if you're just jumping on right now, I'm glad that you guys are here. I just typically like to try and start a little bit on time. I know I'm a little bit over right now. It's currently 2:03, but I'm just going to give a couple more minutes. So, hey, I hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday. This is Coffee with Bryan. This is Pastor Bryan right now. I will switch my camera over here in just a second, and we will get things rolling. Actually, let's go ahead and just jump on in. Let's just start working on this. So, hey, so this is Coffee with Bryan. I hope my audio sounds okay. I've got my headphones on just so I can listen for a little bit, and let me know if there's anything that needs to be tweaked. I am in a different location today. I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of where I mostly hang out every single Sunday. You guys typically see me, since COVID, I guess. So since COVID has taken over here at our church, or here in our culture, I guess I should say. Since it's kind of taken over, I haven't had to do as much with our children's ministry as much. And so because of that, I've been asked to do a little bit more with the tech side of things. And so with that being said, I am actually broadcasting from our new upgraded sound booth. So if you have never seen our sound booth, I just want to tell you right now, this is a work of art. Mr. Jerry Treat has just done a phenomenal job with everything up here. I wish I could show you a little bit more of what's happening right now. So like if you were ever in the audience and you looked up towards the sound booth, you would have seen kind of this old white outdated background, and there was actually like these old folding tables that were up here. Now none of that's the case. Like we've really upgraded everything that we're doing up here. This behind me is actually a carpet wall to kind of suppress some noise that can kind of be talked about up here. And so, well, hi Miss Davis, thank you for jumping on. She's just right downstairs in the offices as well. I see Mr. Pete has jumped on too. So, hey, like I said, I'm broadcasting from right up here in our new sound booth. I've got a couple of new LED lights that are kind of just kind of bring some color to the stage. And so right now I'm broadcasting from right up here in our new sound booth. We've got some new stuff that's kind of been happening. Obviously, since COVID has taken over, we had to figure out a new way on how to bring the message and the word to you through this whole deal, whether it be live, whether we record or whatever. And so we had to really take a hard assessment of what we're doing as a church. And fortunately, there's always a silver lining, right? There's always a silver lining in everything. And the silver lining is that even in the midst of all the COVID thing, it kind of forced us to kind of be more progressive and saying, we need to do this. Because I know some of you guys that are out there that have watched this or watched our online services before have told us how much you missed that. And I knew that we kind of stopped doing that for a while. But now it's all set up. We're ready to go. And so through the midst of all of that, we were able to get everything figured out. And so I am proud to be the first one to actually be broadcasting from our new sound studio, sound booth, whatever you want to call it. Mr. Jerry Treat, we owe you a big deal of gratitude for everything that you've done here. Volunteering time, supplies, devotion, and just love for this church, and helping us, really move out of a kind of a barbaric or Stone Age movement into being more modern and being able to bring stuff like this. Now, Jerry will sit there and go, well, all I did was just, make it happen, or bring the stuff. You made it happen. And, thank you, Pastor Pete, for always giving me a little bit of encouragement. There's days where it's really, really frustrating. I think I've gotten more gray hairs in the last 6 weeks just because you plan for something to work, and when Sunday comes and just all of a sudden it doesn't want to work for you. You love technology when it works, you hate it when it doesn't, right? And so, but anyways, before we get rolling, I just want to say hi. This is Coffee with Bryan. I've got my coffee today in my new Wichita, Kansas mug today. And so we're broadcasting right up here from the upstairs broadcasting live from the upstairs sound room. And so let me just tell you what's going on. This is obviously Coffee with Bryan. We do this now every Thursday at 2 p.m. Originally, I was doing this on Friday because I took Tuesdays off during the whole COVID deal. whenever my wife was substitute teaching, Tuesday was a busy day for her, and so she would ask that if I could take that day off and watch the kids while she did all her teaching stuff. So my typical day off was on Tuesday whenever all of this happened, and that's why it allowed me to do Coffee with Bryan on Fridays. But now that school is out, and so now that we're doing all of this, is it too quiet?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. I got Pastor Pete that just came in and turned me up. So, hi, Chelsea. One of my favorite sisters-in-laws just jumped on. I'm so glad that you're here. This is a segment that we call Coffee with Bryan. I do this every Thursday. Like I was saying, I was doing this every Friday because I was working on Fridays, but now I'm not. And so now I'm taking my Fridays off, and that's my day off. And so actually tomorrow, in the midst of all the heat, I'm actually going golfing. So to the guys that might be watching this, Kendall, DJ, and Mr. Papa Phil Weiss, I'm looking forward to golfing with you guys. Bring your A game. Okay, I'm ready to play. I'm ready to get out there. So, but this is a segment I do every Thursday, 2 p.m., Coffee with Bryan. You're able to ask me any questions. If you have any personal questions that you want to know, anything that's going on in the lives of our student ministry, please email me at bryan@glenpark.com. I'd love to give you any information about camp, anything about what we're going to be doing whenever we start back up July 5th. I would love for you guys to come out and be a part of that. As well as don't forget to join us every Sunday from right here, right here. You know, me physically, yes, from right here at the church, but you from your living room, your bedroom, your balcony, or maybe it's out at the lake. Wherever you are, please join us online via Facebook or YouTube, and you can be a part of our online services that we do every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Now, I know that there's a couple of Sunday school classes that actually meet via Zoom. If you have any information on that, or would like information about that, please email the office at office@glenpark.com, and we can get you hooked up with the Sunday school class. And that way you can be involved in our Sunday school classes too. As well as if you have a student, I don't care if they're here. This is the beautiful thing about Zoom. Zoom allows me to have a Bible study wherever you're at. So I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you're cold. I don't care if you're hot. I don't care if you're busy. I don't care if you're traveling on the road. I've done a Bible study with a couple of kids who were actually in their car driving back from a vacation. That's perfectly fine because Zoom allows me to teach my Bible wherever you're at. And so this is we call it Zoom Live Hangout. It's basically just a Bible study. If you would love information about that, please email me at bryan@glenpark.com. Or if you have my cell phone number, please call or text me. Or if you forgot all of that, just call the church. Just call the church, and Kathy will get you my information so that you can be a part of that. Currently, we're going through the book of Galatians. I'd love to have your students be a part of that. This is primarily for our middle school, high school kids, but not to say that I won't allow even younger kids that want to be a part of that. As long as the gospel is preached and our students are hearing it and being receptive, that's fine. I don't mind it at all. Okay, as well as I want to give you guys a little bit of an update about camp. We are still going to have camp. Camp is scheduled. There's the dates on there in the top left corner of our screen there. I will say this, that if you're going to go to a middle school camp, I need you to register by the 21st. This is because of new camp policies to be in accordance with health code regulations and the camp policies of Crawley County down there. We got to make sure that the students have not been exposed or been in contact with the COVID virus within 2 weeks prior to camp. And this is so that we can prevent the measures of it being spread out at camp. Not because we're trying to be strictlers and say, get your registrations in early. No, if your kid does not get registered before the 21st for middle school camp, specifically middle school camp, okay? All the other camps, just basically add a week to it, after that, okay? If you don't register your kid for middle school camp by June 21st, I'm sorry, I can't take them. That is in accordance with the camp policy. That's in accordance with the Crawley County Health Department. That is in accordance with everything that's... Wow. Did you guys hear that? That's outside. Someone's revving up their car. So, but if you want your middle school student to go to camp, they need to get registered by the 21st. They have to. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to be anything like that, but I'm watching out for the safety of your kids, okay, and the safety of every other camper, as well as every other facilitator that's going out there, as well as every other counselor that's going out there, as well as our nurse. And so please do your part in helping us by getting registered early for that. Okay, get registered online at prairviewcamp.org. The link is right there. All you gotta do is go fill that out. Okay, this is a segment I do called Coffee with Bryan, but I want to also talk about and give a little plug out to our senior pastor, Pastor Pete. He does a segment called Ask Your Pastor. Does it every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Okay, he was doing it every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we changed that to allow me to take over the 2 o'clock segment, and so that people can jump on here and I can have a day off. And so Monday and Tuesdays, though, is at 2 p.m. Right here on Facebook at Glen Park Church. And then Wednesdays, he does an evening session, and he normally brings a guest with him. Typically, it's April, but you never know. He might bring somebody else on. But Ask Your Pastor is on here every Monday through Wednesday. Note the 2 different times, though. Monday and Tuesdays at 2, Wednesdays at 7. Okay? Awesome. Well, a couple things that I want to throw at you guys is I want to play a game with you guys. And so I've got a couple of things that I would love, or a game I'd love to play with you guys called, if I can pull it up here. No, that's not it. Called Old Testamoji. Okay? Now, emojis are kind of a big thing. Like, heck, there was even a movie called the Emoji Movie. So the Emoji Movie was a pretty big deal. Okay? Now, I thought it would be kind of funny if we played Old Testamoji. Okay, now what this is going to look like is there's going to be a series of emojis. Now, if you're not familiar with an emoji is, it's basically when you text somebody, there's these little like smiley face that's at the bottom of your keyboard, and it's, you know, it's like these little animated faces that you can either be like an angel, you can be like, you know, you gotta do a thumbs up. One of my favorite ones is to do like the hang loose one, like, yeah, right on, bro. Like, I get it. I'm not even Hawaiian, but I like to say, what's up, bro? And so I thought it'd be funny if I had a series of these emojis put up on the screen. Could you tell me what Bible story is being portrayed by the emojis? And so let's do an example one, okay? So let me click on one here. And let me take this main screen off. Okay, ready? Can you guess the Bible story? So here we go. I'm going to spin this up. And stop. Okay? Now, see, this one I think is fairly easy. I think most of you should be able to pick up on it. I think it's fairly easy. You've got what looks like a beach or maybe a garden. You've got looks like, you know, like a man and a woman. I don't know if that's a snake, maybe a dragon, maybe it's an apple. Maybe it's apple of my eye. Who knows? And then there's a skull. Maybe there's death. And so, yes, Pastor Pete got it right. It is the Garden of Eden. Yes, this is what we would call the Bible story where we would say Adam and Eve. This is the Garden of Eden, the Bible story there. And so, what else do we got? Let's try another one. Let's try another one here. Let's clear the screen. Okay, a little tougher. What Bible character do you think this is? Now, Miss Davis, don't let Pastor Pete beat you. Don't let Pastor Pete beat you. You got to chime in on this, okay? Now, if you get a phone call down there in the office, Kathy, forget it, okay? You got to answer the question. Miss Davis. You can do it. Chelsea, if you're still on, get the boys there. Get the boys and let them guess. Let's get the boys there. I'd love to see have Aaron and Jacob and Luke get on there. I'd love to have them do it. My wife, I wish she was jumping on, but she's being a little turd bucket. Maybe it's because the boys have been pretty rough. She had to call me earlier. But, okay, let's look at this next one. Here we go. Let's spin this up. Stop. Okay, a little bit tougher. What Bible character do you think this is? Which Bible character is this? Okay. I think the last emoji kind of gives it away. I'm just going to say. I think the last emoji gets it. Come on, Kathy. Oh, Mary Davis, thanks for jumping on. Right now we're playing a game called Old Testamoji. So you need to look at these emojis and tell me what Bible story this is or what character is being portrayed. Okay? Old Testamoji. Old Testamoji is what this is called. What do you got? Kathy Davis chimes in with the win and says Jonah. That is correct. It is Jonah and the well. Look at that. Miss Davis, you get 5 points. Pete, you've got 2 points. Just because the first one was easy. I'm just kidding. I'll make them even. They're 5 points. So Kathy, you and Pastor Pete are actually tied. Okay? Now, the winner doesn't get a prize. They just get a high five for me. Actually, we can't do it's going to be a COVID high five. It's going to be a hypothetical. Nice. Okay? So next, here we go. Let's look at our next one. Our next Old Testamoji. Clear and spin. Do you know this story? Ooh, do we know the story? Do we know the story? Looks like we got a mountain. Maybe it's a sunset. Hypothetical high five. I've been trying to join you for 18 minutes, having trouble knowing how to get to your live podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we don't broadcast from the normal Glen Park page. Our youth home has its own page. I do share the link over there, and so I'm sorry you had a little bit of difficulty getting on there. Look at that. Kathy Davis, Miss Kathy Davis comes in with the win on this one. It is the 10 Commandments. That's right. The 10 Commandments. Okay, now this is that was a pretty easy one too. So Miss Kathy slides into the lead with the 10 Commandments one. Next one, let's see what we got. Clear the screen, clear the board, and we spin it up. And stop. Here we go. Uh-oh. What do we got here? We got some fire, so we're going to burn in the desert. I think that's what it is. It's hot out in the desert. Now, I know all the answers because I made them. So I made all these, and so I know the answers. So I kind of wish I could do it. Yeah, Mary Davis just found that out. Yeah. So it's just something that we just want to make sure that like the youth, I could post anything I wanted on our own page without congesting the main church one. And it's also the same reason as like why we set up a Kidman one so that Becky can post what she wants with our pre-Ks over there. So Kathy Davis says the burning bush. Well, let's see if that is right. Yes, it's Moses and the burning bush. So yes, I'll give you it. There you go. It is Moses and the burning bush. Okay, let's do another one. Let's clear the board. Click this one and let's spin it up. Spin, 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 spin. It's like that whammy game. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, whammy, whammy. Stop. Hammer time. Sorry. That's a little. Cody, the boss man Haas. Thank you for jumping on, bro. Dude, I am hoping so bad right now that you hit that PR. I'm hoping that you hit that PR of 600 pounds. Dude, like you're rocking it on that. I would like to know when like your first like competition is coming up for that strongman stuff. So obviously Michael's been like pushing you pretty hard. So, well, Cody, you just jumped on. Let me tell you what we're doing. We're playing a game called Old Testamoji. So these are emojis that talk about a Bible story. Oh, and Pastor Pete comes in with it. Pastor Pete's got it, and it is, of course, Noah and the Ark. So Cody, this way you kind of know what we're doing here. This is, it just kind of shows up some emojis up there. So obviously it looks like a yacht. I didn't know Noah built a yacht, but he built a yacht, a rather large yacht. And he put 2 little roofs on it. And of course it rained. And it rained for 4 plus 0 days, so 40 days. And then there's a dove. I'm pretty sure there's a dove. And then there's a rainbow. Okay? I love this story. I really do. My son really, really does enjoy this story and hearing this story because every time we see a rainbow, he thinks about it, which is kind of cool that God does that, right? It's like God knew. Of course he did. So, next one. Here we go. Let's spin this next one up. Oh, it's getting a little bit more difficult, so let's see. Ooh, let's see what you got. What do we got? Ooh, this one's pretty crazy. I would be surprised if you get this one, Pete. Let's see. I made this one just a little bit tougher. I need to take a drink of coffee. It's I'm a little dehydrated up here, so. Let's see, Miss Davis. Can you beat him? Miss Davis, can you beat him? I bet Miss Davis got a phone call. I bet Miss Davis got a phone call. Mary Davis, maybe you know. Or Cody even. Let's see, let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Who's gonna get it in? Who's gonna get it in? Who's gonna give me my first guess? Who's gonna give me a guess? Is it? Which one do we think it is? I know it can't be that difficult. It really can't be that difficult. Like, my son went through these with me, and I guess this was the harder of them all. So I guess I'll give you a little bit of props. Okay? Well, I'm going to reveal it here in about 3, 2, 1. Or maybe, like, you know it, but you don't know, like, how to actually phrase it. Okay? Here's it is. Here's it is. It's the golden calf. It's the golden calf. Okay? There's the mount. They were on Mount Sinai. And while Moses was up there on Mount Sinai, all the people of Israel came to Aaron and were all like, he's been gone for so long. And so they're like, we need a God. We need a God. And so Aaron said, bring me all your jewelry. And he fashioned a golden calf. And they worshipped it. And then oh no! They did something wrong, because literally the first 10 commandment, Moses comes down off the mountain and he's like, yo, bro, you literally broke the first one. So this is the golden calf. The golden calf. Okay, next one, let's go to the board. Next one, let's spin this up. Here we go. Bonus points if you get this one. JK, no bonus. Okay, you got the man with the guns. You got someone with some guns. You got, looks like a man and a woman holding hands. I don't know what the woman's got in her hair. What she got? Is this some scissors? I think it's some scissors. I don't know. And then you got like a oof face. Oof. I guess that. Oh, Pete got that. Oh, it's Samson. Yes. Look at that. Pastor Pete chimed in pretty quickly with that. Samson and Delilah. This was a tough one. I don't think it was. Pete got it pretty stinking quick. Okay, let me clear the board. I got 3 more. I got 3 more of the Old Testament emojis, and then I got some other 2 games I think you guys are really going to enjoy. So, let's spin it up. Stop. Here we go. We got the Statue of Liberty. I didn't know the Statue of Liberty was in the Old Testament. Maybe that's a ask your pastor question. Pastor Pete, was the Statue of Liberty in the Old Testament? I don't think it was. I don't think it was. So this will be kind of interesting, right? There's a Statue of Liberty. Looks like a crown. A crayon. So this will be something else to ask you guys too, is, do you say the word crown for like a crown on your head? Shad mash ebed. I like that you just kept it short, Pete. You just kept it short rather than trying to spell all those. Yes, you are correct. It's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, Pete, I gotta ask, did you ever watch the VeggieTales of this? It's one of my favorites. It's so good. It's so good. But yes, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay, 2 more of these. 2 more. Here we go. Let's clear the board. And we're gonna spin it. I'm gonna take my hat off. It's hot. Here we go. Any ideas what's happening here? We got an SOS being sent out. Help! Help! That could be almost literally every psalm. Help! Help me, Lord. Help me. I kind of just sounded like off of Forrest Gump. Help me, Forrest. Help me. No, my fave is the belly button. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. I don't want to try to Mary, you're the same one. Hey, Brooklyn! I'm so glad you jumped on. Brooke, we need to get you registered for camp. I want you to go to camp with me. I want you to come to camp. You would have so much fun at camp. Okay? So what we got here, we got an SOS. Help me, Lord. Help me. Help me, Lord. Help me, Forrest. Help me. Then it felt like something jumped up and bit me. It was a bullet, right? Yeah, it was a bullet. The best thing about being laid up in the hospital was I got to eat all the ice cream I ever wanted. That's right. So, yes, Pete got it right again. It is Abraham and Isaac. This is a huge, huge story. I remember doing some study on this at one time, and they talked about it. Now, some scholars claim that the place where Abraham was about to offer Isaac was the same place that Jesus was crucified. And now some claim that. I don't know if that is true, but when I was doing a study on it, I was all like, you know what? I could present that and go, you know what? It would be cool, but I'm not going to give it as a true fact yet. So just because we don't really actually know exactly where Abraham took Isaac to be sacrificed like there. So, okay. Last one. Here we go. Let me clear the board. Last one. Here we go. This should be a fairly easy one. Pastor Pete and I actually talked about this one like just a couple of days. Did he just know God would save his son at the last minute? Did he just know God would save his son at the... Ooh, you're asking me a question. Hey, how about that? So I got the screen, I got the Bible test emoji up there, so you guys can take a look at that one. Mary, let me kind of answer your question. Did he just know that God would save his son at the last moment? You know what? I think he leaned into the promise of God and literally listened to, because the attributes of God is that God will never take back a promise of his. Like, God cannot be changing. Look at that. Kathy got the answer, at least. Kathy got the answer of Daniel in the Lion's Den. So, yes, you are correct on that. Because one of the attributes of God is that he can't change. Like, that's who he is. Like, because if we serve a God who changes like that, is he really a God that you want to follow? And so God had promised him, God had made a covenant with him that he would be the father of many nations. Now, obviously, we know this on the backside of it all, that the true seed is actually those that are followers of Christ. And that's what Paul addresses in the book of Galatians as well as Philippians. And most of his ministry career was dealt with that, separating the true sons of Abraham and the children of Abraham, because Paul uses two different words there for son and children, because to be called a son of Abraham meant you were like of the true seed. Okay, like then the seed of Abraham is Jesus. Now you can be a child of Abraham, which is you are a physical, like you're actually a Jew, and so he does the separation of that. So I believe Abraham leaned into that promise that God was going to either one, resurrect him and fulfill his promise, or God was going to provide it. Now, Abraham, obviously we know it was a test of faith for him, and so I think that was what it mostly came down to. Now, if that's not correct, Pastor P can actually call it out on me. We'll talk about it, and maybe there's a little bit more to it. I don't claim to know everything about the scriptures. I don't even claim to know a lot about the scriptures. But what I do know is that I love the Lord, I love Jesus, and I love your kids, and I want to serve them as well as I can. And so that's a great question, though, Mary. So thank you. Thank you for asking that question, for sure. So yes, Miss Davis, you did get that right. It is Daniel in the Lion's Den. Okay, so right now it is, what time is it? It is 2:32. I'm going to skip one of my games and actually go to a game that I would love to play with you guys, because I want to see how well you know your movies. Do you know your movies? Okay? So sticking with the theme of the emojis, we're going to play a game that I called Emoji Movies. So just like what we just got done doing with the Old Test emojis, These are going to be emojis that have been popped up on the screen, and you got to tell me what the movie is. Tell me what movie it is. Okay? Clearly, I love movies. I love Disney films. My wife and I, we watch TV together. We watch a lot of movies together. And it really irks me that I can't go to the movie theaters because I like going to the movie theaters. I know it's really expensive to go to the movie theaters, but I love it. It's one of the first dates I did with my wife, and so I really do enjoy doing that. And so let me bring out a couple of these movies for you, or these emoji movies. So let me click on one here. We're gonna spin this up. I take the title screen off here, Brian. Stop. There we go. So this one's fairly easy. So obviously this one would be Spider-Man. Okay, so this is obviously that's a really simple one. So I just wanted to kind of show you what it looked like. So for those of you guys that are jumping on, take a look at this. So this would be obviously Spider-Man. Okay. So next one, I'm gonna clear the board. We're gonna do this again. So we're spinning, and we're gonna stop. Okay, this one. What do you think it is? What movie do you think this one is? You gotta think. If you know anything about Pastor Bryan, most of these movies, they've all had some type of impact in my life, or they mean something of value to me. Okay, so what do you guys think this movie is? So as you guys are trying to figure that out, I just want to let you guys know, please, if you have students at all that would like to know more information about camp, or maybe you as a parent would like to know more about what is going on with camp, I posted a video earlier this week about that featured our camp director, Phil Weiss, talking about everything that's happening down there. He did receive word this last week from the Crawley County, because Governor Laura Kelly left it up to the counties to decide where they wanted to take things, whether they wanted to keep things a little bit more restricted or allow things to be lifted. And so Crawley County, I believe on the 1st of this month, opened it up to where you can have at least 100 people meeting in a building. And then by I believe it's by June 15th, Crawley County is going to up that up to like 150, and then that would mean that by the time we go to camp, literally they will be into phase 4, which means that all restrictions will be lifted, and that camp will be able to go as progressive as forward. Yes, Kathy Davis and Mary Davis, you guys got this right. It is The Lion King. Okay, really easy one. Okay, let's see if I can try a little bit of a tougher one, okay? A little bit of a tougher one. I'm gonna click on this one. I'm gonna clear the board and spin, okay? And there we go. So, so as you guys are trying to figure that out, let me continue to talk about camp. So, but we're going to be taking some precautionary stuff happening out there. There is a clinical disease protocol that Phil has put into place, we're not going to allow visitors to come out there, and that's for your kids. We want to make sure that they're safe. We're not going to allow, once you're on campus, you can't leave campus and then come back. Now, obviously, if in the event of an emergency, like if a kid breaks his arm or we need to get them to the ER or the emergency room, obviously we would do stuff like that. But we used to take a lot of like quick trips into town to run to the gas station, or maybe run to Walmart and get some supplies. We're not gonna be able to do that this year. We want to make sure that everything is kept here, and every single person that will be registered or comes to stay on campus will go through a health screening. We have a licensed nurse that'll be there who'll be able to take temperature readings, be able to do a little bit of a background on your health. This will all be private, obviously, as well as everyone's going to be getting a mask. Now, you don't have to wear a mask, and so we're going to be bringing those masks out to camp, and then we're going to have them for you. And so that way we know that in the event that you have to be in a close proximity, we want to make sure we cover that. As well as we've taken into some extreme measures of what it's going to look like hand washing wise, shower wise. I'll tell you this, camp is basically set up really well for us to handle this pandemic, because if you've never been out to camp, camp has these things called pods, and those pods don't have, you can't house more than 8 to 10 people, which Crawley County is regulated as like a family group. So just like your family is sitting at home perfectly safe to be within 6 feet of each other, this is where this comes into effect. You can sit within 6 feet of each other. So I'm assuming some people are having some trouble with this one. This one, let me just kind of break it down. So obviously it's a man. There's a plane. It looks like maybe like an island of some sort. If you can't tell what this is a volleyball. This is a volleyball. Okay? And then it looks like there's some footprints. Okay? Again, you've got to think, what is Bryan like? What does Bryan really enjoy? There's an actor that I really, really like. And of course I would pick this movie because it's one of my favorites by him. This movie is actually Castaway. I really, really do. I believe it's actually called The Castaway. I don't think it's just Castaway. But this is with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors. I'm glad that to see that he made a good recovery from all of this. Well, hello there, Mr. Jeff. I hope you're doing okay with your straight hands. So I hope you're doing great with that stint, though. Can't wait to see you again. Hope everything's healing up great for you. Okay, let's do. Let me do one more. One more, and I want to make sure I get enough time to do our devotion. Let me do one more movie with you guys. This one right here. We're going to clear the board. Spin and stop. Okay, what do you think? What do you think of this one? Again, the actor that played this person, when I look at that person, whenever Bradley was younger, man, he looked just like him. Just like him. And so I used to give him all a bunch of grief because I'd say, you look just like from that movie. And so, man, can you figure out what it is? Oh, Pastor Pete got it. Yes. Yes, it is Home Alone. Home Alone, the Christmas tree, the boy, the house. Oh, no, like the screen or on the cover of the box. So, yes, so this is Home Alone. When Bradley was younger, he literally looked like Macaulay Culkin. Like, literally looked like him. And so, hey, real quick, let me just do a recap of just some of our announcement stuff. That way you guys know what's happening here. There's not as many of my students that have jumped on today. And that's okay. Some of you guys watch it a little bit later. Plus, it's a new date. It's a new time. And so I've got to allow a little bit of some adjustment as we progress through all of this. So again, let me remind you that this is Coffee with Bryan. I do this every Thursday at 2 p.m. now. I used to be on Friday because that's when I worked. Now I don't have to work on Friday because school's out. My wife gets to watch the kids Monday through Thursday, and I get to take Friday off. And so if you're so used to me being on Friday, I'm sorry, things got switched this week. Literally, got switched this week. Pastor Pete and I talked about it. So if you have any questions, you can either do like Mary Davis did here and just comment and comment a question in there. I don't know everything about the Bible, and I'll even tell you this, like if you even ask me questions about what does our church say about this, what does our church say about that, I don't know everything. And if I don't, I'm glad to tell you I don't know, but I can go find out. Okay? And that's perfectly fine. I've never been above being humble. I'm glad to say I don't know, but I can go find out. Okay? So if you have any questions or anything happening, now the questions I can give you, or the answers I could give you, is anything that's happening in our student ministry. What are we going to do? Like, what's it going to look like? How's that going to be? Some of you guys have asked about what is it going to look like with our children's ministry coming back July 5th. What it's going to look like is we're all going to meet together in service. Okay, there is no children's programming, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving out care packages for the kids. Okay, so that they can have something to do in service. We want the families to be together. I know you guys have spent the last few months together at Shelter's Place, but we really want your kids to be there. It's partially because we just don't know what it's going to look like yet. And we're going to be doing 2 services again. One's at 8:30, one's at 10:30. Please pick a service to come to that. We look forward to that and being able to have you guys here. So any questions regarding youth ministry, student ministry stuff, I'd love to be able to answer any of those questions. And again, don't forget to join us every Sunday here on Facebook as well as YouTube. There's both of those pages right there. If you go to Facebook and go to Glen Park Church, It should pop up for you. It's the logo with the circle with the GP on it. Same thing as YouTube. Go to Glen Park, Wichita. Okay, not Glen Park Church there, but Glen Park, Wichita over on YouTube. We go live at 10:30 a.m. every Sunday. So we'd love to see you guys there. You guys see us, but we don't see you. So we just hope that you're involving us in the lives of your worship experience on Sunday. If you have any students, let them be a part of our Bible study that we do every Monday at 6. Okay, about for an hour. We do some games. I talk about some introduction stuff, and then we talk about the Bible. We're going to the book of Galatians right now. And so it's been really cool because if you've ever read the book of Galatians, and then also if you're reading the book of Philippians, which I hope you're doing, which is what Pastor Pete's preaching about on Sundays, they're very much similar because Paul's addressing the same stinking issue. He's talking about unity, and he's talking about dividing or, tearing down these walls of Jesus plus, circumcision, Jesus plus following all the rules, Jesus plus the law. What? You are not? Yes, I am not all-knowing, Mary. Yes, I am not all-knowing. I don't want that title either. I'll leave that up to God. So if you have a student that would love to be a part of this, students, please invite your friends. I love having them on there. Ryan, if you're watching this, you did a great job a couple weeks back. You invited a friend to join us just to jump on. They don't even have to be attendees of Glen Park. This is an opportunity for you to invite your friends really easy. All you got to do is text it to them. Hey, jump online with us tonight. You don't even have to tell them what it is. Just say, hey, you want to jump online with us? A group of friends are going to hang out. Okay? And so we'd love to do that. Don't forget, Ask Your Pastor every Monday, Tuesday at 2 p.m. and Wednesday at 7 p.m. This is with our lead pastor, Pastor Pete, right here on Facebook at Glen Park Church, that same page where you can find us online. And then let me give you a recap again. If you are wanting to go to camp, I need you to get registered. Go to the website at prairieviewcamp.org. If right on the front page, you scroll down a little bit, it says register. It just says register right there. Okay. Don't forget to click on the church, Glen Park Christian Church, as your attending church. Okay. That's the only way I know if you've actually been registered, and I can let you know, hey, I need a little bit more information from you. But if you're wanting to go to middle school camp, this is the last possible day you can. June 21st. June 21st. You have until midnight of June 21st. Actually, it'd be 11:59, June 21st, to get your kid or student registered for camp, for middle school camp. Okay? If you don't, I cannot pull any strings. Yes, I'm the dean, but I cannot pull any strings. I would be going directly against Crawley County Health Department regulations. Please don't put me in that situation. Please don't put me in that situation. Okay? And so I'd rather you just do your job, and I'm here to help you if you need to register. I'd rather do that than me have to tell you, hey, unfortunately, I'm sorry, your kid can't come to camp. I'm sorry. And I don't want to do that. Please don't put that on me. And so, okay, so get registered for camp. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here. So let me go ahead and get to our Bible study or our devotional with you guys. So we've been doing this thing with Pastor Pete ever since he's been here, where he's talked about this battle cry. And there was a cool video that Dorothy posted about Jeanette where she signed it. And it almost brought tears to my eyes because it's just so cool to see that Jeanette's get it. She gets it. To see one of our members just get it. And if you haven't seen it, if you're not friends with Dorothy, go check out that page and see that video. And Jeanette signs it. It says, for the Lord and for Wichita. And it's so good. It's so powerful. And I know Pete's talked about it before. Where does this story come from? It comes from the book of Judges. Okay? And so my devotion for you guys today, I entitled it Gideon's Fear, Faith, and Fleece. Gideon's fear, his faith, and his fleece. Okay? And what it is that Gideon has been called by God. And Pete talked about this a little bit yesterday, where he called him this chicken farmer. Not that he raised chickens, but that he was a bit of a coward. Because he used every excuse to say, me? A mighty warrior? What? Because he says, I am of the weakest tribe. I am of the weakest clan. He says, so I am the weakest of the weakest. Okay, my family's not the greatest. Even my family group isn't the greatest tribe to be a part of. And so I want to read a passage of scripture for you, okay? And this is where I wanted to highlight, and it comes out of Judges chapter 6, verses 14. And it reads like this. It says, "And the Lord turned to him and said, 'Go, in this might of yours. You have the power in you, Gideon. You have the power within you, and save Israel from the hands of the Midian. Do not I send you?'" It's God saying, you have the power because it's I that am sending you. You're not doing it by yourself. Just like Moses didn't do it by himself. You have it in you. Why? Because greater who is in me than he who's in the world. And so I love this passage of scripture. I'd love to be able to read all of this. But Gideon goes on to test God. And he says, is this really the case? And an angel actually comes down and cooks this meat and gives him leavened bread and all of this stuff and feeds him. And he's all like, surely you are the sovereign Lord. And then all of a sudden, a little bit later, Gideon wants to test him again with the fleece. And he says, hey, God, if this is really what you want me to do, I'm going to go to sleep tonight. But when I rise up, I'm going to have this fleece that's been set out all night. If you can make it to where the fleece is wet, this piece of fleece all wet and everything else around it dry, then I'll believe you. So then Gideon goes to sleep, wakes up, and it happens. The ground is dry, but the fleece is, he rings it up, and it water just drains. And then Gideon wants to test him again. He says, Lord, let me do this one more time. How about we do the exact opposite now? Can you make it dew on around the fleece and let the fleece be dry? God, being gracious, said, yes, I'll do it again. So Gideon goes to sleep, wakes up, the ground is all wet, and the fleece is dry as a bone. Okay, so let me ask you this. How would you describe yourself? Would you describe yourself as someone who is skeptical or gullible? And the reason I ask that is because Gideon, he didn't just take it, because he really felt, and this was kind of the culture of that time, they really felt like God had abandoned them. They hadn't heard from anybody. They hadn't heard from any of the prophets, and they really kind of felt like this was a con. And so I ask you, are you skeptical sometimes when God talks to you, or when God is leading you to do something? Or are you gullible just to believe anything and everything? Because Satan loves to act on your gullibility, if that's a word, I don't know. But he also wants to see, are you willing to put it in faith? God's willing to see if you're willing to put this in faith. So how would you describe Gideon? As a mighty warrior? Would you describe him as very cautious? Like, it's okay to be cautious, right? Is he full of faith? I don't know. I don't think at the very beginning of it, but by the end of it, I think he starts having a little bit of faith. Would you say that he's just a doubter? That he's just doubting all the time? Is he full of fear? Is he just wavering, just going, I don't know if this is true or not? And maybe that's where you find yourself. And so why do you think the Lord was patient with Gideon? He comes to him and he just says this hey, Gideon, mighty warrior. And Gideon goes, what, mighty warrior? I'm the weakest of the clan and the weakest of the tribe and all this. And Gideon doesn't believe it. And I want to speak this into our students, okay? I don't know where you guys are at in your identity right now. Okay, I know you guys didn't have school. I know you guys didn't have sports. And you haven't had a chance to really hang out with your friends. You haven't got to do a lot of the stuff that you wanted to have and got to do it for fun for the summer, right? But I want to tell you right now, and I'll continue to keep telling this, your identity is not wrapped in what you do. Your identity is found in what God says you are. And God comes down to Gideon and says, you are a mighty warrior, even when you don't believe it. And this is why I really wanted to highlight that 6:14 passage where it says, go in this might of yours. Yes, it may be weak, but guess who's sending you? Go. It's me. I got your back, brother. I got your back. And so what do you find the hardest thing about doing God's will? What do you find the hardest thing? Is it figuring out what it is? Is it just simply figuring out what God is? Or is it choosing from the options that maybe God gives you? Because obviously God has blessed you, and he wants to bless you as a good father does. And so he wants to give you this stuff. And so what I love about this story of Gideon is that Gideon is just trying to figure out, I don't want to be gullible, I don't want to be skeptical, but I don't want to show my lack of faith, and I don't want to show my fear. And maybe that's where we're at. Where you're going, I don't know if this is really God leading me. I don't know if this is really what God wants me to do. How do I know? Well, just take a step and try it. Don't be afraid. Because guess what? It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how fast you can get back up. You know, guys, if I dropped out every single time I failed in ministry, I wouldn't be here. Guys, if I made some stupid mistakes in ministry, absolutely. Okay? I'm not perfect. And like we've talked before, I don't know everything. And so with Gideon, yes, he was skeptical, and we might sit there and make fun of his lack of faith or, fear. But put yourself in a situation. You're not hearing from God. There hasn't been a prophet coming. And you wonder, is God still there? And maybe you're sitting there thinking the same thing today, where in the midst of all the COVID thing going on, in the midst of all the rioting and a lot of hate that's going on, maybe you're sitting there going, is God really still there? And I want to tell you right now, I want to tell you what God told Abraham. He said, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. Mighty woman of valor, you are here. And go in the might that you have. Because all that you have is all that he needs, and all that you need is all that he has. And that's the truth. Wow, I'm going to say that again. Because all that you have is all that he needs, and all that he needs is all that you have. You don't need to measure up to what God wants you to do, because all he asks is that, are you willing? Are you willing? And can you take it in faith? Can you take those steps in faith? So, and in what areas of your life do you need, or do you most need God's direction? And maybe you need it right now. And maybe it's relating to what your future holds. Maybe it's in your job. Like some of you guys have lost your jobs. I just got done talking with Mark Hall about that there's over like 25 million Americans that are just without jobs right now. Maybe you need help with your family. Maybe you've got some personal problems going on, some health issues maybe. Okay, so here's my reflection. For you. In the past 5 years, what are two sure signs that God was present with you in the last 5 years? And then break it down. What are some two present ones that are happening right now? Can you find the silver lining in the midst of all the pandemic, in the midst of all the hate, in the midst of all of this rioting? And where are you uncertain? Where are you afraid or overly cautious where God calls you? Guys, I've said this since day one. I want to be here at Glen Park. But I'm never shutting down the will of the Father for my life. I hope I can be here until the day I die. Or, serve ministry until I die on a youth trip or something. Because I love this church. But I'm never going to close the door for God's will and his direction in my life. And I would not want that for anybody. I would not want that for Pastor Pete. I would not want that for Miss Becky. I would not want that for Kathy. I wouldn't even want that for any of our elders. But my challenge and my courage for you as adults, as students, all of you guys that are listening to this, whether you're watching this on YouTube later, you're watching this on Facebook later, is do this. Lean not on your own understanding, but lean into the Father. You don't have to get right with God in order to be made right. You don't need to do anything, because all that you have, which is this broken, decrepit heart, is all that God needs. Are you willing to take it and be used and say, go in this might that you have, because it's I that is sending you. You're mighty. Quit listening to what everybody else is saying. You're powerful. You're mighty. You're strong. You're bold. You're beautiful. You're awesome. You're powerful. You are the modern day Spider-Man. You are awesome. Okay? Students, I've told you this before. You're loved. You're treasured. And every last stinking one of you are world changers. Lean into it. Find God's direction. Find what breaks your heart and go do it. Okay? Hey, I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we're going to battle cry together. Can we do that together? Here we go. So let me pray. Let me pray for you that are watching this. And maybe this is time for you just to reflect on this. What's your identity? Who are you, and what does God say you are, and what is my will? What is his will for your life? Let me pray for you. Father God, if there's anybody in this that's here in this broadcast, anybody that comes on later that just needs to know you more, Father, will you spend your Holy Spirit just to give them a big warm hug, a warm hug that they've not experienced, a physical warm hug that they've not been able to experience in the last couple of weeks. Lord, let them be overwhelmed by the love of the Father. Jesus, will you come and invade the hearts and the minds of each and every one of the individuals that are hearing this? Lord, will you convict and challenge and grow and nurture hearts right at this moment? Lord, let us lean not in our understanding, but find our identity and placement in you and you alone. Our identity is not found in what we surround ourselves with, but it is found at the feet of the cross and in the arms of the Father. Scripture tells us that you have inscripted us into the palms of your hand. Lord, what a beautiful place to be. Will you care for your people? Will you nourish us? Father, if there's someone that has not handed their life over to you, not only as Lord, but also Savior. Savior and Lord. Lord, I love you. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, let's battle cry together, and then we will bounce out of here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. For the Lord and for Wichita. Love you guys. God bless. Have a blessed and awesome weekend.